Hey guys, it's Kevin here for Daredevil, Season 1, Episode 3, Rabbit in a Snowstorm, and again, another amazing episode. I love this episode, and yeah, this was kind of a filler episode, but it's really setting up what's going to happen this season, and finally, we finally see Kingpin's character, Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin. We finally see his character in this episode. I will get to that, but the thing I love the most about this episode is that it was more focused on Matt and Foggie's life as, partners working in this law firm, the kind of clients they have to deal with, and I definitely enjoyed seeing that. And yeah, we've seen that with, we saw that with Karen, but this was the first time we saw a client that was completely unrelated to that, so I really like actually seeing that. I thought that was really well done. Definitely, probably honestly, one of the highlights of the episode I thought was seeing that. I definitely really enjoyed that, and overall, I really did love this episode, and I'm really loving this show, definitely. I mean, a lot of people are comparing it to, and honestly, I can see why people aren't enjoying The Flash as much anymore. I can see why people aren't enjoying Arrow as much anymore. And that's just because Daredevil is kicking the shit out of all of them. So, let's just get into this episode because it was great. So we start off, we're in a bowling alley, and there's this man named, Prohashka, and he's bowling a private game. Another man named Healy asks to join him. Prohashka denies him, and Healy then and this scene is so intense. Like, we don't even know these two characters, and it's already extremely intense, and Healy then savagely beats and kills Prokasha with a bowling ball, and this was, like, fucking crazy. He's beating him, he's, like, just savagely beating him, he's punching him out. It's so hard to watch, but I love it because I love that Marvel was going that far, and basically, he's a highly trained assassin of some sort, but an enigma for now, and basically, we cut to the past, and we see Healy purchases guns from an arms dealer named Turk, and in the present, Healy hides his gun in a nearby pinball machine after killing Prohashka, and waits for the police, and when they arrive, he surrenders and asks for a lawyer, and we all know what that's saying. He said a lawyer. He's gonna go to Matt, and he's gonna go to Foggy. So, I really like the way that started. I mean, it really got us into the character, got us into the story, and I love that. So, and as I said, just like episode 2, if they can keep every episode opening that thrilling, I'm gonna love this show, because again, we had 3 amazing opening scenes. The first scene of this entire show was amazing. The second scene from, second episode. And then this scene. They were all so thrilling, and they were all on the edge of your seat, and I loved it. So basically, the next day, Matt meets with a priest outside of the church, and it's the same priest that he talked to in the first episode. And this time, the priest actually recognizes him as Jack Murdoch's son, and says that Matt can confess anything to him and not be in legal trouble. And he says the last time, Matt said a lot to him, but Matt doesn't really want to say anything this time. And, basically, the priest even asks if Matt wants to go out for coffee, but Matt says no. Now, why do I think he's not really doing anything about this? I kind of feel like Matt is he said what he needed to say, and now that he said it, he just wants to move on with his life, and he doesn't really want this priest involved in his life. Because, the whole thing about him being the devil and everything, he is still worried about that, so I definitely feel like that's going through his head right now. Like, that's really what he is thinking, is that, oh my god, I'm going to become the devil, this could be terrible for me. That's really what I'm thinking that is going through Matt's head right now, which I think is really interesting overall. So across town to Brooklyn waterfront, we actually meet some new characters here. We meet journalist Ben Ulrich, I think his name is, Ulrich. I'm going to call him Ben Ulrich, and basically, he meets this mobster, and the mob boss who's tied to Union Allied, of course, the group that is blaming Karen for the death of, the death of I can't remember the death of Dwight, they're blaming her for that. Basically, he says he's retiring to Florida, citing the recent number of hits on his colleagues, and he doesn't know who is wiping out New York's existing crime families, but thinks it's a new player who doesn't follow the rules, and he encourages Ulrich to not follow the rules. So, basically, across town, Matt, Foggy, and Karen meet at the law office for a new day at work, and they receive a knock at the door, and it's Wesley. And when we saw Wesley, I'm like, oh shit, this is not going to go down well, because of course, Wesley, is the Kingpin's right-hand man, and we know that Kingpin is after Matt, Foggy, and Karen, that he knows them somehow, and I thought this was really interesting, so I was thinking, okay, maybe now we're going to find out how Kingpin knows them. And basically, he explains that he came to Nelson and Murdoch instead of a much larger firm because his mysterious employer wants lawyers with roots in hell. Now, of course, he can't say his name. He can't say Wilson Fisk's name because, he'll be pissed if he does. And basically, his mysterious employer wants lawyers with roots in Hell's Kitchen. And Wesley's there because he wants Nelson and Murdoch to represent Healy, whom his company is paying all legal fees to defend in court, and Foggy jumps at this chance. He thinks this is a really good idea, but Matt's really, isn't entirely sold because he doesn't really trust Wesley in his spotty story, which I like seeing. Again, I really love seeing Matt and Foggy go back and forth over this case. I think it's really cool. It's just showing how different these two are, and definitely you can tell that Matt's Foggy's a lot more quick thinking, but Matt really thinks about something very well. He's very smart. He is very intelligent. He really thinks about, what he's about to do before he does it, which I love seeing that Matt does that, and that's something I think it's awesome that he does that. So, basically, we then see that Wesley then makes a personal jab at Karen in her murder case, even though the murder was never public knowledge. So right there, that should make her very suspicious, because no one knows about this murder, so how the hell does he know? Like, what she should be thinking, like, how does he not know? And Wesley claims he has friends in the police force, so that's how he knew, which is complete bullshit. I mean, sorry, it is a complete bullshit story. We know it's not true, and if someone told me that, I'm like, that'd be complete bullshit, but Wesley then tells Matt and Foggy that they have 38 minutes to get to police precinct 13, where Healy and the cops there will corroborate his claims. So, basically, they have to do this, and they basically have to do this, and I thought that was really interesting when we saw it, and I was interested in seeing where this was going to go. So, instead, Matt follows Wesley. He doesn't really know if they're not going to do this. So, basically, instead, Matt follows Wesley, who gets into an SUV with Kingpin, but Matt doesn't really trust Wesley. So, he knows now that he can't trust him. He knows that there's something else that Wesley is hiding from him. He knows he's working for someone, and I like that Matt doesn't trust him. I think it's setting up a really awesome storyline there. So Foggy goes to the precinct where he meets Healy, and Healy claims self-defense, but says that he has issues, and despite Foggy's hesitance, Matt agrees to take Healy's case, which I think it was interesting that they did decide to take Healy's case. It was the best thing for them to do, and I thought that was good that they did take. I mean, Foggy's kind of hesitant because, of course, his issues, and they don't really know if they can defend him, but I do agree with Matt says that when you're in a court, it's not about defending someone, it's more about just finding out why they did things, and basically, at Urich's office, Urich is visited by his editor, and Urich tells his editor that he's working on a story about a new power player in the New York crime scene, and the editor is unconvinced by the story, and it says it won't sell papers, and Urich says he's sick of writing puff pieces that just sell, saying a better time when reporters actually wrote the news, and angry, Urich pursues his crime story in private, and I thought that was really interesting. So back at the police station, Matt and Foggy continue talking to Healy, and Matt wants to know why Healy is connected to the company Wesley represents, because, Wesley didn't give a reason, and Healy's not even talking about it, so he knows something fishy's going on. I like seeing that Matt doesn't really trust, Healy or Wesley or any of them. Definitely I like seeing that. You can tell how good of a thinker he is, and especially when he finds out that Kingpin's involved, I think it's going to be really interesting to see what his reaction that's going to be. Healy doesn't give him an answer, obviously, probably because, Kingpin told him not to, so Matt pressures Healy, but Foggy asks to speak in private, and Foggy doesn't want to, and I thought this was a really good scene. Foggy does not want to defend Healy, feeling very uneasy, but Matt disagrees, and basically, Foggy is surprised that, he always thinks that, he always says Matt never takes his side, and he doesn't want him to take his side, and he then tells Healy that they'll defend him in a private hearing, but Healy wants a public trial with a jury, and definitely, why would he want that over a private hearing? Like, a private hearing would be a lot better. A public jury, though, I can understand why he wants that, but basically he wants a real case, so they have to do this. So, basically, at the bowling alley, Wesley enters, recovers the gun hiding under the pinball machine. It's a really awesome scene, and I thought that was really awesome. So, Matt and Foggy return to Nelson and Murdoch's office, where they go over Healy's case, and they discuss their legal strategy, and have Karen look into Confederated Global, the company that's paying them to defend Healy, because they feel like Confederated Global, there's something else going on there. They don't know what it is yet, though. So, then across town, Karen is debating signing this document that says she'll no longer discuss the embezzlement documents she uncovered from Union Allied. And I think this is cool overall, because this is more, I've heard people say this. This, Iris's character in The Flash, a lot of people hate her. I don't hate her character. But this is what they need to be giving her character. Stuff like this. Karen, this is not a romantic storyline. She's not involved with Foggy or Matt, even though I said that I'd like her with Foggy. They're not even really focusing on that. This is what they should be involved in. This is more of the storylines that I want to see them give Marvel characters. I want to see, I want to see more Marvel characters get these kind of storylines. I think that'd be cool to see. I want to even see maybe DC will do something with it, because I think that could be cool as well. So Union Allied says that they'll give Karen a large sum for keeping her mouth shut, but she doesn't know if she really wants to go through with it. She just doesn't know if it's the best idea, and I can understand what's really going through her head, because she's not really sure. She also doesn't really know if she should trust these guys, so I like that she's, kind of confused about what she should do there. So at a hospital, Urich talks to a nurse about his wife's ailing health. Without much money, the hospital will push Urich's wife to an outpatient facility that won't properly care for her, and he begs the nurse to extend his wife's stay, and she buys Urich's wife 5 days, but then the situation will be out of her hands unless Urich can scrounge the money, and Urich then goes to visit his wife in her hospital room where she's sleeping, and you don't really know what's going to happen here, but I like that they're getting us to care more for Urich's character. You see, he's really struggling. There's a lot of things not going right for him, and I like seeing that. So, at Nelson and Murdoch, Foggy and Matt work on Healy's case. Karen then shows up, but they have no clue that Karen met with Confederated Globals. They have no idea that this happened, so it's kind of awkward right now. So later and during Healy's trial, Foggy defends Healy being before a jury, and Matt hears a familiar heartbeat of Wesley, who has just entered the courtroom. And he knows he's lying because his heartbeat is panicking, and he knows that Wesley is lying. So Matt's on him, and I love it. I love that it's not like, oh, he knows something that Matt doesn't. No, Matt knows that there's something going on with Wesley, and I love that. I love that we're seeing that here. I think it's awesome. So that night, that panicked jury member meets a man in an alley, and the man tells her to follow his instructions and vote in Healy's defense, and when the woman leaves, Daredevil then attacks the man, and the man says he's blackmailing the woman to vote in Healy's defense. He doesn't know who his employer is, though, but he tells Matt where to find his employer. Daredevil makes the man have the blackmail jury member excused, and that was just an insane scene, but I think it was awesome. One of the things I do love about the show is that, again, they don't focus on just the Daredevil's character, him being the Daredevil. No, what they show is him in the law and also him as Daredevil. It's awesome to see, and I love it. So, the next day in court, the jury member is excused and replaced, and this scene, I absolutely loved this scene. I love this scene with Matt. I love what he said here, and honestly, it really sums up, what is really going on with Healy. Because basically, Matt then makes this defense closing argument for the judge. He hears a panicked heartbeat from another jury member who was probably also blackmailed, and he talks about, about good versus evil and morality versus facts, and he tells the jury that Healy must be acquitted in a court of law. They shouldn't try to think if he's innocent, more why he did it. They shouldn't try to justify. It's not, and I like what he says, it's not about justifying what happened. Feige talked about this as well. It's not about justifying what he did, it's about why he did it. That's really what it is. It's not about justifying it, and I like seeing that. So across town, a Confederate Global executive meets with Wesley. He wants to meet with Kingpin, but Kingpin won't meet with him. And the executive then reveals that he's connected with Healy. So clearly there's something, he's now connected with Healy, and he's also working in the group that Healy's working with. And I kind of feel like Confederated Global is working against, is working alongside Kingpin, but eventually they're going to turn their back on them, which I find to be very interesting. I'm interested in seeing what's going on there. So Karen goes to meet Fisher's widowed wife and apologizes for getting him involved and killed, and Karen then tells the wife that Union Allied wants her to sign, and you can see that his wife wants nothing to do with her. She's just looking at her, and she's like, get the hell out of here, I don't know what you want, but I want nothing to do with you, and I really like this scene. It's really showing how remorseful Karen is, and I like that Karen tells her the truth. She tells her exactly what happened, that basically Union Allied wants her to sign the deal to stay quiet, and the wife tells her to let it go, but Karen says that something doesn't feel right with Union Allied's numbers. And I like what she said there, because no, it doesn't feel right. And I'm calling it now. Karen did not kill Dwight Fisher. I know she didn't kill him. There's no way she killed him. She also tells her that there was nothing going on between her and Fisher, and she says, oh, I know there wasn't, and that he was devoted to her. And I like that Karen did that. She's trying to make herself look good in front of her, and she's trying to show that she's not a bad person, and I definitely enjoyed that. The wife does admit, though, that she has already signed a silence deal with Union Allied for her children's safety, and she leaves. So with nowhere else to turn, Karen goes to Ben Urich's office and says that she has more information on Union Allied and its connection to the criminal uprising. So basically, I think definitely what's going to happen here is that she's going to work with Confederated Global to see if they can kind of figure out what's going on with Union Allied, if they're responsible for killing Fisher, and I want to see what's really going on there. We'll see what happens there. So back at Healy's trial, the jury is split with a hung jury. The trial's over, and Healy's released, but is promptly ambushed by Daredevil later that night. Because Matt doesn't feel right that Healy was, released. He knows that he did something wrong. He doesn't trust him, and he's not going to let him get off that easily, which I love seeing. So Daredevil and Healy are fighting. It's an awesome fight scene. Again, it's really awesome. It's not as awesome as Episode 2's fight scene, but I still thought it was an awesome scene. They're both very skilled combatants, and with a knife at Healy's throat, Daredevil demands to know what Wesley works for, because he wants to know who Wesley works for, and Healy gives a name. He says Wilson Fisk, and Healy then panics, knowing that by giving up his name, he will kill him and his family. He's like, oh my god, what have I done here? And I don't know how Matt's gonna react to this, but now he knows who is doing this. He knows that Kingpin is after him, and it's so well done that he just said it. And so basically, Healy knows what he did was wrong, so he then impales himself, and basically, he thinks it's a better fate than whatever he might have had planned for him, and I thought that was an awesome way to end the episode, but that's not the end of the episode, because finally, elsewhere in Hell's Kitchen, we finally meet Kingpin, and oh my god, he's already so menacing, and I think that I can't wait to see more of his character, because basically he's high up at a luxurious art gallery, and Kingpin stares at a white painting. It's insanely expensive, but he still buys it, and when the curator, an attractive woman, asks Fisk how the painting makes him feel, Kingpin says that it makes him feel alone, and that's how the episode ends. So overall, guys, another really solid episode. Really loving this show. I mean, I know this was a shorter review. There wasn't as much to talk about because there wasn't as much to have in this episode, okay? There really wasn't. But I still loved this episode. I'm loving where the show is going. I mean, just Matt now knows that Kingpin is working with Union Allied. So what is he going to do? Is he going to try to take him down? I mean, clearly I love that there's no, like, oh my god, who's he working for? And then he just finds out. It's really... I love that, Healy just told him straight out who he was working for, and he knew what he did was wrong, but he told him anyway, and I thought that was really well done. So how is Matt going to react to this? He needs to react somehow, and I'm interested in seeing what's going to happen there. We'll see, though. Karen. Is Karen going to work with Confederate Global to take down Union Allied? Is she going to, are they going to turn against Union Allied? I'm interested in seeing what's going to happen there. Because we know the Confederate Global wanted to work with Union Allied, but of course, Wesley said no, so we'll see what happens there as well. What is Matt going to do with his deal with Wesley? It seems like Wesley, they were getting along really well. Is he going to tell Foggy what's going on? I'm interested in seeing what's going to happen there. I think that's going to be really interesting. I like Urich's character, I do. Is Karen going to somehow help Urich, help him get the money and things like that? I think that maybe she'll help him with that. We'll see what happens there. I think that could be really cool if she does that. But yeah, guys, I'm really loving this show, really. I have yet to find anything that I don't like about it, really. I think this episode was perfect in my opinion. I know that there wasn't as much to talk about because, yeah, it was a little bit filler, but I still loved it. And by the way, guys, how I said I'm doing 2 episodes of Daredevil a week and 2 episodes of Bloodline? I can't do that anymore because now I'm doing classic movie reviews, and I need to be able to do that and Netflix, so I can't review 2 episodes a week. I will be doing 1 episode a week, so this is the only one I'll be watching this week. But honestly, I'm satisfied because we now finally met Kingpin. We know how menacing he is. We know what he's, after. We know that he's after Matt and Karen and Foggy. And does Matt personally know Wilson Fisk? I feel like maybe he has some sort of connection to him. Again, we know that Kingpin knows who they are, so does Matt know who Kingpin is? Does he have some sort of, does he know that he's going after him? I'm interested in seeing if Matt really knows what's going on there, because if he does, I think that's really interesting overall. Foggy and Matt, I really like seeing them clash over these cases, but I am kind of worried that this is going to do something to their friendship. I mean, if they keep clashing, constantly, eventually something is going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen, but I definitely feel like we're leading to something. I'm just not sure what that something is right now, but I love the way they're handling Karen's character, she's not like a love interest, she's definitely more of her own character, which I love seeing. No, what the hell? Now I can't remember Rosario Dawson's character's name. What was her name? Hang on, what was her name? 1 second, guys, I'm looking for her name. What was her name?
Hey guys,
Claire. No Claire in this episode. We didn't see Claire in this episode, which I'm honestly fine with that we didn't see Claire. But I guess we'll find out more about her in the next episode. What's going to happen with Wesley? I kind of feel like Foggy's going to start to get suspicious of him. We'll see what happens there as well. I think that's going to be interesting to see if that does happen. I wish we would have gotten some flashbacks in this episode. We didn't get any flashbacks, which I guess was okay because it still was a great episode. It still was awesome, and I loved it. But that's my review. Hope you guys enjoy. I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for Bloodline. So I will see you guys for that. Let me know what you guys think of the show, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Okay, bye.